All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. And right here, right now, we got the one and only, man. We got DJ, battle rapper, photographer, man. We got the jack of all trades. We got BadNewz Brown right here, live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
Great, Outlaw Radio. Let's get it cracking. How y'all feeling?
I'm doing great, man. Hope everything is all well on your end, man. I'm starting to notice the U.S. is actually opening back up, man. It must feel good for you to get back out there and start doing some battles.
Definitely does, man. It feels good to just be able to go across the country and be a part of battle rap culture again. Last year took its toll. There weren't many active leagues going on out here, and last year was supposed to really be when my actual battle rapping debut occurred, and it got pushed back just because of the times, you know?
But I gotta ask you, man, what actually made you decide to get into the music industry initially?
Initially, I had an uncle, rest in peace to my Uncle Ben. Him and my dad were DJs coming up, and if you grew up in my house, my father used to, back in the CD and record era, for you cats who are on iTunes and Spotify and such now, my dad, when you would come into our house, would have a giant wall full of jazz CDs. He had like thousands of them. They covered our whole house, like the walls of our house in these cases. So the first music I really had access to was my dad's collection, and it was really like old 60s and 70s funk music, jazz, and early hip-hop. So I was blessed in that way. I had access to a lot of music.
And the one thing I personally have to ask you, man, and I don't like doing all generic questions, but me personally, I'm a wrestling fan, man. So I have to ask you, man, like, is the name BadNewz Brown actually kind of like, reference from the former WWF Hall of Famer?
It is an homage to him. I used to be huge into wrestling, and I have an aunt named Joyce. And my Aunt Joyce and my mom knew that I loved wrestling all the time. And when I would not be a bad kid and cut up in church or something like that, they would call me BadNewz Brown because they knew I loved wrestling, and it was a correlation to that. So it was just a name that's kind of always been around since a kid.
And I gotta say, man, it's catchy, man, especially in battle rapping as well, man. Just calling yourself BadNewz Brown.
Oh no, it definitely is, because there's another battle rapper named BadNewz, and we often get mistaken for each other. But my last name is Brown. My government name is Sean Brown. So it's kind of befitting, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, it most definitely makes sense. As you know, my government last name is Brown as well, man. We're everywhere.
Yeah. Not even a question. We're mobbing this bitch.
But also, man, January 30th in Phoenix, Arizona, man, you actually went against Hit List Mel. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this battle, and of course, what was the outcome at this private location?
Oh, it was pretty dope. So me and Hit List Mel, we had never met. We spoke a few times on the internet, and it was mostly because we knew we were booked against each other. I think I was his third battle, maybe fourth. He was my very first on-camera battle. I had battle gats in college and, parties and shit like that. But me and Mel, we went down in Glendale, Arizona, January 30th on Desert Alliance Battles / Terminal Battlegrounds. And it was sponsored by Ultimate Battle League, UBO, which is out of Wisconsin and has chapters in several different parts of the U.S. and just opened up a chapter of their own in Canada. So shout out to Ultimate Battle League. That is my original home league, even though I am the media for Shots Fired. They were the first ever league to book me, so shout out to Jeffrey Gray. But I digress. Me and Mel was a great battle, a battle of two old heads, right? Me and Mel are both up there in their late 30s, early 40s. So there's a lot of old school shit going on, a lot of old school references, throwbacks, a lot of old school word packages from when me and him were coming up. The way we were putting together words was kind of like how you would have heard it back in our day. So it was dope in that. A lot of people say it was a classic debatable as far as for what it was. We set off that battle. We set off the card. We opened up the card, and we actually finished second for Battle of the Night out of 6 or 7 battles. So a classic battle. For those of you who don't know, me and Mel, Hitless Mel, he battles out of the Hitless Battle League out there in New York, ran by Damian Scott. They have a couple different chapters in different places. But me and Hitless Mel battled, and ever since then, he's my guy. He's actually my 2-on-2 partner. and we go by Brooklyn News. We're going to do a battle here December or January together. Will be our first battle together.
And also, man, just last month, July 10th, in Austin, Texas, man, you actually won. You actually went against. You actually went against just in time for the Battleground event. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about the Battleground event show, and of course, what was the outcome actually of your battle?
Outstanding battle. Like, we didn't do a judged system for any of the battles, but I've heard everything from it was 3-0 him to 2-1 me. I felt like it was a great battle. I was coming off my West Coast Elite debut, which is obviously out here in Compton and Watts. They throw a lot of events over there and in different parts of Los Angeles. They are a Los Angeles-based battle league ran by S.O. Finesse, B. Scatlin, Don Nino, the Kid Clutch, etc. A handful of people with their hands in that. My battle that was on West Coast Elite in, I believe it was April or May. I think it might have been May. It couldn't have gone worse. I was underprepared, terrible. So I walked into my just-in-time battle after the very first time ever where I did poorly in a battle. And I just was like, just go, just be free-spirited. Just kind of like, just roll, give what you have, and they'll react to what they'll react to. And I felt like the battle turned out great. It was like a battle of a lot of nerd bars going around. Like me and him went for the humor a lot in this battle, and the replay value is going to be great. I think I counted collectively, we each make the room kind of go crazy about 9 or 10 times collectively, and it was good. It was a really nice segue from the previous battle that I had that went so poorly. I left this battle really feeling good about things.
And I gotta say as well, man, like, you know what I mean? It's sometimes always good. It's always good sometimes not to have judges, man, because you never know what the outcome's actually gonna be.
I thought it was a cool thing because then, you know, like I was saying, I write these battles and I want to put them out there to the public. And writing a battle is stress, man. It's not like I don't know. Maybe for some guys it's not, but for me, being so new and coming from, you know, having written songs before, like music tracks, it's a completely different art in some ways. Because you know, there's no beat to ride. There's no different piece of instrumentation that you can ride at different points. There's you and your vocals and how you perform it, and that's what it's going to look like. So, you know, I felt really good about. I felt really good about my last battle. I never really care if the battles are judged or unjudged. For different stipulations, you're going to get different things. Sometimes you're going to get the judge battle if there's money on the line, and a lot of times it'll just be between you and the internet, and I'm okay with that.
But also as well, man, aside from being a battle rapper, you were also a DJ as well. I was wondering, what actually made you decide to venture into the turntables? And if anyone is listening that wants to book you for a show, how do they go about doing so?
Sure. So one of the things that made me want to DJ, obviously, was the influence of my dad and my Uncle Ben coming up. My Uncle Ben was a DJ by trade. It's what he did for his whole life. He also worked at a hotel, but he DJed tons of parties in the Atlanta area. We just lost him about 2 years ago, but he was a huge musical influence in my life. Because whenever him and my dad were around each other, they would always talk music. So, huge influence in that realm, and then coming home every day and seeing thousands of jazz and funk and 60s and 70s, R&B CDs all around my dad's cases, all around the living room. And then having so much access to those and being able to play that on my CD player. I used to take radio songs that would get released on the radio shows, and we'd make mixtapes back in the 90s. We'd dub tapes, we'd bring them in. Kids would ask us for copies of tapes. We would ask them to pay us $2 to $3, and you wouldn't make tons of money doing this, but you might sell 5 to 10. And then all of a sudden you become the guy to get a cool mix from. By the time you get to, like, you know, high school, now people kind of know to get the dope mix from you. So to me, that was always it. And then you live in Southern California. I have access to doing videography and photography work all up and down California, from San Francisco to San Diego. So I've over 5 years shot in most cities in the Bay and the majority of cities in Southern California. So you meet a lot of DJs. But at a certain point 2 years ago, I started getting serious, and I was like, let me buy DJ equipment, you know, and let me get my own instead of always using my friends. And if you're on point and you're quality and you're reliable, it's not hard to get booked in San Diego. You know, it's really not.
I most definitely agree, man, because just just that area, man, is so infused in music, man. You know what I mean? If you can't make it there, I don't know where else you can make it.
But it's very true. It's super true, man. But, it's about putting yourself out there. I think finding what you like and branding yourself under those umbrellas. Like, I've always loved hip-hop and rap, right? So, like, because I've always loved hip-hop and rap, it just bleeds into certain other things. Like, okay, of course someone like me is going to go to a lot of shows. Of course somebody like me is going to be where the DJs are and people are dancing. Of course somebody like me is going to be at battle rap events. Just who I am. I'm a New Yorker. You know what I mean? And hip-hop is our shit.
And also, as well, man, aside from the music industry, you were also a part of the U.S. military, man. I was wondering, what division were you actually in? And, of course, what actually made you join, man? And first and foremost, thank you so much for your service.
My pleasure, man. I was actually in the United States Marine Corps. I served in Okinawa, Japan, and in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. In between then, I did 2 years in the Iraq War, OIF 1 and 3, which was Operation Enduring Freedom. And for me, out of high school, I grew up in what you could call a suburb, or the outskirts of a city. So for me, I felt like I just didn't have a lot of real life world experience, and I needed to see more. And my father was also in the Navy. I had an uncle, maybe two uncles that were in the Marines. The military lineage kind of ran through my family. My grandfather was a Marine. So it's kind of all around me, the influence, the idea of it. When I turned 18, I just weighed the military and college next to one another, and I just felt like the military was an experience that I could only experience probably at that age, and it was for me. It's not for everybody, but it was for me. I felt like if I went through something like that young, between 18 and 26, then it would just prepare me later. Like, it would help me with, things like drive and stick-to-itiveness, and just, it would give me good qualities that would pay off later, and it has.
And also, as well, man, you were actually the host of your own podcast titled Sound, Rhymes, and Drinks. I was wondering if you tell us a bit more about your podcast, man, and of course, for the individuals that don't know, how can we actually check it out?
Yeah, so Sound, Rhymes, and Drinks is actually something that I'm developing this fall. I had created it on an app called Anchor, and I wanted to get my YouTube channel going before I got into podcasting, because I realized I could take what I would do on Anchor and put it onto YouTube once I got that channel going a little bit more. But as a job, over the last 12, 13 years, a hustle I've always had was bartending. In every city you go to, there's bars. People love cocktails, so those who drink. So that's where the drinks part goes. Sounds and rhymes, you can imagine. Sounds being the DJing, the beat making. Rhymes being the art of rap. Rapping on beats, rapping off beats. Acapella, freestyling, battle rap, whatever, you know what I mean? So Sound, Rhymes, and Drinks is going to kind of be all-encompassing. It's going to be something where I let you into all three of my favorite worlds. It's, DJ and beat sounds, rhymes with, spitting rhymes, whether on acapella or on beat. And then cocktails, I have a lot to tell you knowledge-wise about spirit and how to build a cocktail in your own home, or what to look for when you go out. I mean, this has been a primary hustle of mine for quite some time. So I get to educate you on the things that I love most, essentially.
And I gotta say, man, I was actually listening to an episode there on Anchor, man, and I gotta say, man, you actually taught me some phenomenal ways to make some dope drinks, man. I didn't even hear about half the drinks you were talking about.
Well, is that right? Glad to hear you could grab something from that, man. That's dope.
But also, as well, man, you actually have your own BadNewz Brown merchandise available, man. I was wondering, what merch do you actually have? And, of course, where can we actually snag some of that today?
BadNewz Brown merch will be dropping in October. I'm actually getting 3 more prints done for it. So the ones you guys have seen have kind of been like a market tester for me to see what the public thinks about the logo. The logo was made by my homie Ryan Camardo, who owns Wave God Apparel out of Niagara Falls, Buffalo, New York. In the 716, you want to get some dope shirts made, or you want to check out some of the stuff that he's doing, go check out Wave God Apparel. They have a Facebook page, they have an Instagram page. He's doing some great stuff over there. Him and I are going to be collaborating. He's in the process of developing 3 more T-shirts that are going to go with the all black, white, and red one. And we're going to release them at the end of October, right around Halloween. You will be able to find them on Linktree, and I will have that in my Instagram bio at BadNewz_Brown TV.
And I gotta say, man, most definitely, let me know when they drop, man. I most definitely will cop myself a T-shirt.
Guys, I need me a DJ Brandon Immortal T-shirt. Who's the guy I gotta know?
But also as well, man, as of right now, I was wondering, do you have any other events coming up that you actually want to let our listeners know about? And of course, if they're in the area, man, how can they actually snag themselves some tickets?
Definitely. So I am battling Smooth the Jug Man from Atlanta. Him and I are going to battle in El Paso, Texas. For those of you who don't know, one of the biggest battle rap platforms in the world is called the URL, the Ultimate Rap League. They have a reality show that is tournament-based that breaks brand new battlers and battlers of all ages that were able to make it into this tournament-style setting. Smooth the Jug Man actually was a participant in Season 1. They're finishing up Season 1 right now. He was a participant in the early qualifying round. Many people felt like he should have moved on. Even though he did not move on, he was able to make quite a name for himself and get booked all across the country, taking up to as many as 4 battles every single month in different parts of the United States. Him and I are about to battle October 3rd in El Paso, Texas. I will be dropping that flyer on my Instagram story. It comes out within the next 4 days. So if you want to tap in with me, there will be a live stream. Go to BadNewz, news spelled with a Z, _Brown TV, and I'll update you on all the information. I'll have tons of promo going on Instagram and Facebook that will lead us to the event and tell you a little bit about the backstory of me and Smooth the Jug Man and how this battle came to be, so you can anticipate some of the things him and I need to talk about to each other.
But also, I gotta ask BadNewz, man. So this is the time to interview quickly, man, that for the individual that takes over the radio station airwaves, just like a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. But most of all, man, your social media handles. I know you already dropped that Instagram, but if you can, drop the IG again and the rest of the social handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated. Everything BadNewz Brown if they're not already doing so.
My man. So, obviously on Instagram, BadNewz_Brown TV. If you want to get at me on Facebook, it's BadNewz, spelled with a Z, Brown TV. You can find a lot of battle rap content, interviews with Peachy Gotti, Next, Rum Nitty, just to name a few. You'll see some highlights from some of the best events the West Coast is throwing. You'll also see a lot of photos on the BadNewz Brown Instagram as well. Facebook, you can follow me on there, BadNewz, news spelled with an S on there because somebody had already taken the Z. Damn it. But BadNewz Brown on Facebook, spelled with an S. On social media, Instagram and YouTube, it'll be spelled with a Z. Tap in with your boy. Everything you need to know about my battle coming up October 30th in El Paso, Texas, you can find on my Instagram story as well. Be sure to follow Shots Fired Battle Rap League, the biggest premier battle rap league in San Diego, California. I am the chief of media. They will be hosting some really great events coming up this fall that you won't want to miss. So be sure to follow them as well on Shots Fired Rap on Instagram and in Shots Fired Battle League on YouTube.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, BadNewz, man, thank you so much for just taking the time out of your busy evening and coming on 97.7 FM, man. And I want to personally thank you as well, man, for all the support that you show myself and my radio station, man. It's definitely an honor and most definitely a privilege, man, just to have an amazing, listener and fan like yourself.
Not even close, man. I appreciate all you're doing. Let me give you some flowers while I have you. Because for those of you who don't know DJ Immortal, let me tell you something. Every time I go up Facebook, I feel like I don't go a week without seeing him post something impactful pertaining to hip-hop culture. For those of you in Canada and around the world that are going to listen to this interview and find out about not just myself, but him, but people like him that get platforms to people like me who are on their way up or people who are even established, that make people care. It's wonderful. And we can have all the talent in the world without people presenting us to the public it's going to be very difficult for people to learn about us in a lot of ways. So I want to give you your flowers publicly on everything you do for hip-hop. The care and amount of effort and passion that you put into it is one of the most obvious things ever from anyone from the outside looking in. And I'm glad hip-hop culture has someone like you that's going to guide it into the future.
I gotta say, man, I've never had another man make me blush so much as you actually just did, man. But I appreciate the love, bro. I really do, man. Thank you so much, man.
My man. My pleasure, man. Good rapping when you came. First of many, my man.
Hey, man, most definitely, bro. But I gotta say, man, good luck on your battle coming up. I know you don't need it, but most definitely, man, give him hell, tear the roof off, and most definitely rip the mic out of Buddy's hand, because we already know BadNewz Brown is taking the W in this one.
We definitely will, my man. I appreciate the support. I'll definitely be sending you highlight clips and things like that. As the battle happens and stuff like that, I'll be sure to tap in with you about some of the stuff that I have going on as far as like post-event and pre-event stuff. And yeah, shout out to Outlaw Radio.
Hey, man, most definitely, man. I appreciate you so much, man. Definitely have yourself a wonderful night, man. We definitely shall talk soon.
Definitely will. Hold it down, King.